Hi,
True.
my name is Jessica Gill. I have a YouTube channel and I post on Instagram a lot, and I am a advocate for women's rights, women's privacy, and women's spaces. I have been on transitioning for over 10 years now, and I support women as much as possible, which goes
As
against
much as
my own
possible.
community, and therefore I am taking the stance of no, trans women should not be included in the feminist movement.
Okay, so trans women should be included in the feminist movement because they embody the main goal of what it is to be a feminist: freedom to choose, equality, and individual agency without external factors telling them what women can and can't do. Trans women often come into women's spaces seeking for a place to belong as the gender and expressions they identify with. Exclusion is the main culprits of diminishing of movement, especially when it comes from within. The definition of feminism is the advocacy for the political, economic, and social equality expressed through organized activity on behalf of women's rights. The word on behalf is important to this conversation because on behalf means in interest of or representation of. This allows anyone to be a part of a movement as long as they share the same goals and fundamental beliefs. Trans women are not only speaking on behalf of women's rights, they're advocating for the same liberties that feminists aim to achieve, and in a broader sense, what it means to be an American. Having liberties and freedoms regardless of your gender, sex, race, social, or economic status. Arguments against trans women mainly come from turf talking points, and the frontrunner for this is Janice Raymond. She believes transgenderism should not be a part of the feminist movement, and that trans rights should be legislatively harder to achieve. Her first book, The Transsexual Empire, in 1997, laid out the framework for many of the turf arguments. When researching this, I
Holy
realized it's the same
yeah. Oh
questions and
my
talking points
God.
that have
Shut
been used
up.
today. It's pretty unfortunate, not in the sense that there should be more thrown at trans individuals or to unpack anything new and discover, but that after all these years, they're unwilling to learn and kind of meet in the middle and approach this with empathy. So yeah, with that said, that's the opening statement. So can you explain to me kind of what would exclude somebody from a movement and what would disqualify them?
You said the same thing twice.
Okay, so I believe that, well, first and foremost, sorry, I believe that trans women
The mic didn't sound that bad when we were in it. I don't know why it sounds like that now.
are not women. I believe we are a subset of men. So there's where my argument starts, I guess. And to further with the argument as to why we shouldn't be, me, meaning trans women, should not be included in the feminist movement is because it's been tried, not with trans women specifically, but back in the early 70s, like as each movement went by, decade after decade. I
True.
mean, I know feminism started with the suffragettes before World War One in the 60s, but in the 70s, the feminist movement developed organizations and they allowed men to be there in the organization on their behalf, like you just said, speaking on behalf of women. What eventually happened after 10 years or so, the men decided, well, not decided, but it gradually, the patriarchy took over the feminist movement and the feminists got tired of that and they moved away from it and they said, we're going to close this organization, we're going to start a new organization. And then it seemed like every 10 years, and then it happened again in the 80s, they started WOW and women's, or yeah, it was,
I don't know, like when they said they closed the feminist movement, I was like, again, I've looked at it a lot and I'm like, I didn't really see that. But I mean, I'm not going to deny that.
we're going to close this organization, we're going to start a new organization. And then it
A
seemed like
new
every 10 years, and
organization.
then it happened again in the 80s, they started.
Wait, organization like different group of people or like it's still like all feminism? I don't know if like just all right, we're gonna move over here like the same group of people. Move over here. Oh wait, they follow me. Okay, move over here. Follow me. Like I don't know if they mean like that.
WOW and women's, or yeah, it was WOW, yeah, women's advocates now, and you know that included men, and then eventually all of the talking points became about men's rights and men's equality and why men shouldn't, you know, have to negate their rights to be feminists or speak alongside.
It became about men. Well, damn, that's the one thing I don't think I didn't touch on that. But it's like it became about men. I don't think I fully agree, but I would have to look more into that. Where it's like it became about men. Of course, I know there was some like, oh, should men even like have a say in it? And still, yeah, I mean, you should get as much people as you can. That's my whole sentiment. My whole like kind of point is you need everyone to be a part of a movement to further it. And again, if I think I came off a little bit aggressive, like towards the end, but not really. I don't know. I was chill. But it's like, oh, like you need to like accept them. Not like I'm gonna force you to, but it's like for feminists to exist, you have to accept kind of not really almost anyone, but like that would include accepting trans women.
You know, have to negate their rights to be feminists or speak alongside feminists. So,
What
and
do I
now with
say?
the third wave feminism, it's just gotten so hard with
Third
like
wave.
had mentioned with the trans and the TERFs
Well, we're in the fourth wave, so
being exclusionary towards trans women. I run into that a lot with the TERFs and the Wolf, which is a huge women's group that absolutely will not accept me.
yeah.
As,
Spoiler: they're going to talk about a lot about the bad things about the feminist movement that they excluded them from that. And again, I kept saying like, oh, I can sympathize with that. I was like, well, that's why. Like the reason why you feel like that you feel excluded is because they didn't feel like you were necessary to it. And it's like, well, they're doing that, pushing everyone out, but it's like, okay, now you're trying to define either what is a strict definition of a woman, and then I don't think I brought this up, and I think I should have. Was that if feminists, like if you're gonna label yourself a feminist and you kick out trans people of like both sides, you then have to forfeit like your body autonomy and like kind of the need for any cosmetic surgery of any kind, even lip fillers, BBLs. You have to then forfeit that because you are then denying the body autonomy to change your body, because that includes in the medical sense of like what you can medically do with your body. So I don't think I brought that up, but I should have. And but if I didn't, yeah, if I did, whatever.
a human being, even just because of their total resentment towards trans women. So a lot of that has pushed me away from being a feminist or even wanting to support feminism. I am supportive of women and their rights and their safety, but I don't believe that I should be speaking on their behalf in any capacity.
I understand, but I wouldn't say it's your fault that you were excluded from a movement that you claim to care about. And I don't know if you have the same kind of mindset of like it reinforces the patriarchy, like, oh, now men are trying to come into the women's spaces and kind of tell them what to do. I can't really speak on their true intentions of they're really trying to tell them what to do, but yeah, like that's why. Okay, I did. Even still, I think standing in place and having a larger voice to advocate for the rights is a good thing overall. Um, and I don't agree with like that enforcing the patriarchy, because even in the system, trans people, it doesn't matter male or female, they're kind of excluded, just like you said, as people, and they're seen as traitors. So it's like I would think feminism would need to stand up for them to kind of help them out and have them a safe space.
That's a very good point. I'm glad you brought that up, because I have been told many times over by many women, and some radical feminists and some just feminists and then some just women, they simply reject the fact that I would be on their side for any reason whatsoever, like whether I'm speaking.
Yeah, and that shouldn't be a thing. That's what I'm trying to argue. Like, I know they're saying no, but like the people who claim to be real feminists, they honestly should. Like, that's just the bottom line.
Keeping trans women out of sports and keeping trans women out of women's spaces. They literally will not allow me, because of who I am and the way I look. They literally do not want me speaking for anything.
Oh, bro. Oh, yeah. What's up, Sly? I'm watching it now.
It's so like that's what's pushed me away.
So you're saying you're pushed away, and that is unfortunate that does happen. I'm not trying to minimize that, but still, from your core beliefs, do you think that you should still be trying to push for more rights, and not kind of succumb to that? Because there's one thing you said that you would glad to give up your rights to support women and children. I think it's kind of hypocritical to say that, because did I quote that right? Let me see. The quote was freedom, so I said rights, but same difference. Because there's one thing you said that you would glad to give up your rights to support women and children. I think it's kind of hypocritical to say that, because it kind of goes against your own interest as a person. So I at least me, I wouldn't agree with that. But yeah, you can go ahead.
When you say that I said I would gladly give up my rights, were you talking about a statement I made on my Instagram channel a while ago?
Your YouTube videos, I just looked through it, and you said you would gladly give up your rights as a trans person to have like basically a safe environment for women and children. But I'm kind of thinking that it's kind of like the propaganda getting in, like, oh, like they're pointing at one group for all the issues, and then the person they're talking about, they're like, oh yeah, I agree. And it's like, you're like really gonna fight it anymore. So I'm wondering if it's more of like you're tired of standing up for yourself and there's so much beating down on you, which I know probably is a lot. But for me, I would just say keep fighting and still find people in your same circle who can push the movement further.
So back then, when I made that statement, that was probably 5 years ago, and I was all about
it. Was like 2 years ago, because I didn't go too, like, I didn't want to bring up like, oh, you said this, said that, but I did like look at their channel. I think it was like from like 2 years ago. They said that it was like a short little YouTube video, and I did bring that up.
And I still am all about women's rights, and I want them to have the equal pay. I want them to have, you know, all the sex-based rights they deserve. They need all that, and that was my point. Is like I think women are exceptional. I've spent my life emulating them, trying to replicate what they have as a human being. Like I can't do it. I've done the best I can with what I've given, but I still can't be that woman that I've always wanted to be.
What do I say to
So,
this? What do I
but
say?
only recently has they pushed back on me so hard that I've gotten frustrated and I just gave up. And but it's still, even back then, you know, yeah, I would gladly trade in my, like, so in the state of California, I'm allowed to visit any public space that's designated for women just because of my gender identity. So that I would give that right up in order to protect women. So to address what you said, yeah, like I said, I would give
It's
up.
like that was a good point. But it's still in the broader sense. Like, sure, I agree, but you are still not the problem. That's why I keep trying to say, like, it's not even you're the problem. It's just the bad actors. And I brought that up earlier. Let's say you would give up going into women's spaces because just to protect. But I don't like that framing. That's why I don't even know if I've explained it correctly or like in depth, but I just don't like that framing.
My rights as a trans person, if it meant safety for women and children, female girls, not to have to deal with someone like me who's 6'2" in heels, you know, standing in the bathroom looking at women, and they're like, that's kind of crazy. So, yeah, it does suck that it would push me away from living my life, and I'm not one of those to use living my true self, or I don't use that phrase, but yeah, it does suck that we can't find a happy medium. And like I said, I do wish that I could speak not on behalf of women, but I would love to stand by their side and support them and get them as.
I mean, you can't like. I'm wondering, like, sure, like people did exclude you, but I wouldn't say all people. Like maybe like a lot of radicals have radical fans, but I wouldn't say all. So I mean, unfortunately, it's just like what you were dealt with. Like, I mean, it's easy to say, oh, just find better people, but like, kind of just go for that. Like, I know it's easy to shape your perspective on what you've been through. I'm not trying to minimize that, like I said. Um, but I just don't think like what it should be about. But I don't know. I'm just a guy talking. You know, I guess
On
I don't know
behalf of women,
anything.
but I would love to stand by their side and support them and get them as much support as they could use. But I've become so ostracized from the turf movement that I don't even care anymore. Like I'm like, you guys fight it for yourselves, and that's another reason why I'm like, you know.
You're fighting the turf movement. So like, damn. Like imagine, cause the same could be made. I wish I thought about this. Like a black person, would you like succumb to racism or the KK because like, oh, there's like a big group and like they're like racism is truly prevalent. They always kick me out, whatever. Like, you know what? I don't care anymore. Whatever happens, I'll give up. You can be racist, whatever, as long as you don't bother me. Like, you know, I've given up because it's too much. Like, I understand the sense of like being tired, being beaten down because it's not easy. But like in any other cases, would you still like kind of let them do what they want because you know it's a lot of them? Because there's a lot of bad people everywhere. It's not going to be easy to fight, and the good never is, I guess, spoken loud enough for you to hear or see. So I don't know.
Like I'm like, you guys fight it for yourselves, and that's another reason why I'm like, you know what? You don't want my help. I've always been told, you know, together we're strong, separated we fall, right? And
Yeah, like
more
I
voices
said.
are better than no voices. So why wouldn't you want someone like me speaking on your behalf? But they don't want it, so I say let them have at it. Let the women be feminists
Yeah, they just yeah,
and
I
get as many
understand.
rights as they can on their own. So
Mm,
without trans women or men in their organizations.
to
Earlier.
exist as a woman is not just one thing. I think we can agree. It's kind of um like a social spectrum. It's not just woman is one thing. It's not just if you have the reproductive
Is social
organs. It's
spectrum even the right word? I don't even know if I should have said like that's not even the word I wanted to use.
more of
But
like
that
what you
even know
present
good.
as. And I can agree that having a safe space for women and children is a good thing, but at the expense of yourself, I think I don't know if I would really agree with that. But the same thing could be said of how gay people would. Oh, I guess it is. Well, no. Oh, damn. Yeah, I messed up. Not social spectrum, because damn, that goes more into like neurodivergence. Damn, I messed up. I didn't mean to say that. A safe space for women and children is a good thing, but
at the expense of yourself, I think I don't know if I would really agree with that, but the same thing could be said of how gay people were treated, and they had to kind of hide their relationship. It wasn't seen like, oh, they seemed like they were unsafe, making people uncomfortable. And over time, it was written into law that gay marriage is accepted. People were more accepting. So I think this is one of those things where over time it can be an accepted thing. It just takes time. I think we're kind of now in that real conversation. I don't know. Maybe you seem a little black pill because the feminists who would claim to be on your behalf are trying to exclude you, and that's why I'm not mainly coming at you. It's mainly like at the whole feminist movement, mainly radical feminists. They seem to want to exclude.
I did say that. Okay, that's good. I did mention that.
Trans women for some reason of like the patriarchy, whatever. But again, it doesn't really reinforce that. So, yeah, I think all voices should be heard, no matter where you started, where you are now. I just think all voices should be heard to push a broader movement.
And I'm gonna keep reiterating that. Was it? That was like a minute, huh? I think I spoke for like not even. I don't know.
I do agree with you as the all voices should be heard, which kind of coincides with what I said. Like together we stand, divided we fall, right? So more voices. And I do agree with you on the social construct thing. I know this is supposed to be a debate, but we're
Yeah,
not
I'm gonna say
supposed to.
construct. I don't know why I said spectrum. I just I kind of get what I meant. I guess.
You know
So
what I meant.
what is a woman? Like that's the stupid question. I hate that question too, but I
Which
mean,
I'm glad they weren't gonna bring that up, because I did even look up, and I had my thing of like what a woman is, and like if somebody would have, I gotcha, you know what, okay, but I had my answer, so I'm glad it wasn't that. And I was again hoping, prepping for this, that like, oh god, hopefully they don't bring up what is a woman, what about sports, what about bathrooms. I'm like just the internet talking points. I was like, I just want, this is kind of what I liked. Yeah, but kind of like more of a long form about this too, but I'm not gonna, I get so focused on other things. I don't have to like make this my whole shtick. Like, yeah.
yeah, like to me,
Wait, hold on.
that's the stupid question. I hate that question too, but
Yeah,
I
I was
mean,
like, yeah, like, oh, thank
to
you.
me,
Yeah, you see me.
there needs to be a defining what is a woman and what isn't a woman. And I don't consider myself a woman. I consider myself at best a trans woman, but I'm definitely not a woman. I wasn't born this way, or I wasn't born with the female anatomy, so I can never be a woman. But as a social construct, yes,
biologically,
when I am in
yeah.
public, people address me as she, her, and I don't demand that, but that's the way it happens. I mean, I know I'm not passable, but I pull it off well enough where they get the intention of what
So
I'm
did they not even care like if you miss their pronouns? I mean, I would think they would care. Oops, I think they would care.
trying to aspire to be. And I think they just give me the respect because I'm not dressed like a whore or wearing pink hair and, stuff like that. So there's a little bit of the social construct that I do agree with you on. Whereas, but as a feminist once said back in the 60s, I think, Wollstonecraft, I think was her name. If anyone can be a woman, then a woman is nothing. No woman.
Oh wait, who said that?
Said back in the.
But that's not true. Oh, like what was If anyone, that means if anyone can, that means there's nothing to define it. I think I ran across that. I don't even think I wrote that down, but
the 60s, I think. Wollstonecraft, I think was her name. If anyone can be a woman, then a woman is nothing. No woman. There is no such thing as a woman, because how can everybody decide that, hey, I'm a woman today because I wore a dress and I did my makeup? So that kind of negates what you said about, we can't really be women and we should have boundaries for who is a woman and who isn't. So that's why I think that another reason for not being part of the Feminist Act would be,
what did I say about
a definite divide to keep the trans women separate from the women. That's what I'm pushing for, so that women can have their rights back.
So they're advocating for just a trans only space? I mean, I don't know. I think that'll just make them more vulnerable.
Trans women separate from the women. That's what I'm pushing
for,
so that women can have their rights back as feminists or non-feminists. Even if they're not feminists, I want them to have their rights and not be trampled on by trans women, because we are a subset of men, that appear a different way. And I still don't think it's right that I speak on their behalf, especially, with the anatomy part.
Okay. One thing I want to talk about is, like, just to circle back, you said you want to, again, keep women and children safe. And then I don't know if you did bring it up, but a common talking point is like the bathroom situation. Oh, you're making people uncomfortable. Again, I think it's the.
I think it's where, like, then that guy, I think this point is where I took a turn where it seemed like I was imposing force of like, you should do this. So like, let me see how I say it. I don't remember how I
is over time. I think it can be accepted, and there are bad actors within the the transgender, like they try to say, oh yeah, I'm a woman, so I can just go in here and then assault women in the bathroom. But you have to realize that no matter what they are trying to present, like the bad actors, they would have done that anyway. This is just more of like an excuse to get into that, like an ease of access. And often feminists, I don't understand that there seems to be like a scarce sense of liberation. Like, oh, I'm not gonna give you rights. I'm gonna exclude you because I want all the pie. And it's not like there's not gonna be anything less if you include trans women in the feminist movement or you give them rights to exist and live in this space. So in the sense of it seems like fear mongering a little bit. Like you're going to be taking rights away, like they're going to overrun the female women's space, and I still don't think that's true because I just think, I mean, you can agree you want to live your life and kind of go where you feel like you express and everything. So again, that's why I think it should be just included, like in the feminist movement. I don't think I ended that well. I should have been like, what should I have said? I lost my point at the end. I just didn't know how to end it. But what should I have said? Like the onus is on the feminists to make that safe space. Like even if you do want them out, I think what you should do is still advocate for a safe space. Now it sounds kind of, I mean, I don't agree with that, but if you really don't want them, but like you maybe you kind of care, but like, okay, well, invest into their own funding with everything and their own, I don't know, just like whatever. I think that'll be a good thing if you really want them out. But I mean, they don't care about their interests. It's all about them, so it wouldn't really matter. There'll be like a small few people. But then I get if you're gonna advocate for their own spaces, you just rather just invite them in, right? So I don't know. But I should have ended that one. I don't know what I should have said, but maybe I'll. Again, that's why I think all the pie, and it's not like there's not going to be anything less if you include trans women in the feminist movement or you give them rights to exist and live in this space.
To touch on that just a little, it's this is anecdotal, but like when I don't have any more trans friends. Like literally every trans woman that I was friends with in this city disowns me because or won't be my friend because of my political views. You know, I'm running out of time. But when I am with my girlfriends, biological women, they literally will drag me into the women's room with them, and I'm like, no, 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 I'm good. I'll go somewhere else. You know, it's fine. They're like, no, girl, get in here. You know, so they do treat me as one of them.
It's funny. I heard that same. I was on the Jubilee. They said the same thing. I was like, oh yeah, I know that.
And I appreciate them for that. And you know, I know I'm not passable, so it's fine with me.
Yeah, I just cut him off. I understand that, but it's just more, and I keep saying it's just the acceptance thing that more people have to be okay with. And I can understand you feel like you've given up and like you're beaten down on it because they will never accept you. But it's not that you have to change; they have to change. They have to be the one to will accept you. And even the friends, I think. I mean, it sounds so deep, but like low key, like it's not that you did anything wrong. It's more like you got to wake up. You have to like. You can't just be stuck in the past. Like, oh, it's not this, not that. And it's really a Western thing because I should have brought that before. Like, it's trans individuals have existed throughout history, all like even in tribes and the Middle East, like whatever. It's been a thing. So it's just the Western society we have broken it down to just two genders, which again that could be fine, but like it's still in that because realize that since trans individuals have always existed, like that's not going to go away. But in order for everyone to be accepted, you kind of have to. You can't be so rigid. You can't just box everyone in to one thing, okay? And that's what I keep trying to harp on. It's not that you have to change; they have to change. They have to be the one to accept you. And even the friends, I think they were doing a pretty good thing on, you know, making you feel comfortable, even though you weren't really wanting to go in the women's space's bathroom, but them putting you in that space, I hope it did make you feel comfortable in that. So like, it's not trans women's fault. It's just kind of the life you want to live. I can let you have a little bit of time. It's not your fault that you're experiencing that. It's what's being imposed on you. And I felt like I was like almost talking directly to her situation while still trying to address, you know, why feminism as a whole should. But yeah, I don't know if that's a bad thing, but
I'm gonna push back on what you said just there a little bit. So what you said about me not having to change, but they need to change. That sounds like very patriarchal to me. Even,
I was like, "There, you got me, bro. You got me." Yep.
You said something like that. I was like, "Whoa, that's pretty brazen as a man to say." Like,
but it's I don't know. Like again, at least for what I said it, I don't think I came off that way. But is it like saying, "Oh, you have to accept this"? That's like patriarchal and manly. I don't know. Like again, it could be me being oblivious. I don't know. But
and you said something like that. I was like, "Whoa, that's pretty brazen as a man to say." Like, look, women need to learn to accept trans women. So that's what feminism is, right? That's what they want. Well, I mean, it's more about equality, right? So
yeah, equality. I'm like the whole thing is like I said in the opening statement, it's more of equality. You want to exist in the same world in the same country as everyone else. Not like you're gonna harm anybody. And again, like I said, the bad actors can be taken out. Um, I believe you're transitioning in good faith. And there's a lot of people just transitioning in good faith, and we need to see it in that lens. We need to approach it with a lot more empathy. I know it gets really really nuanced, and that it seems hard to accept. But again, I don't know why I don't. I think that I was flipping through, looking. I looked at my notes and threw me off. I don't. I shouldn't have looked at it in the sentence. That was bad on my nuanced, and that it seems hard to accept. But again, over time, I think so. We just want to reaffirm that trans women should be included in the feminist movement. Feminists should open their arms to a lot more voices and not exclude. Once you start attacking within, then the movement crumbles. Again, you can't just point the finger at a few people and point blame. I guess political takes. If you're going to blame immigrants for all the problems, and then immigrants start to believe that, then it's like they're destroying their own community, their own self. It's just kind of like a scapegoat how you can go to. And I don't think that's the right approach. And I'm not trying to make it in the sense that I'm trying to tell them, oh, just accept them, just do that. No, it's more of like just trying to show them kind of a way to do it, not just like you should. So I'm not trying to impose that on anybody. And I did think about that it may sound kind of brash and like, oh, I was just a man saying it. But in reality, I think that's how we move forward, is to come together as one. And I think feminism is a good thing. People need to kind of learn, research a lot of stuff out there. Don't just read headlines. Research at your own will. Read both sides. I read both sides, and yeah. Yeah, bro. I think I hit on the points I wanted to. It almost felt like I wasn't addressing their points, is because it would go into more anecdotal, and I can't really fight on that. So I was trying to like still touch on like, okay, well, I can understand this, but this happens, fear mongering, blah blah blah, whatever this. Oh, but this, social construct, whatever. So I think I hit on some decent points. I think I did okay. And I mean, for to say who won, like, I mean, it would just depend if I were to convince them, or if like anyone liked my arguments, to be like, oh yeah, I kind of get that. Or somebody could be just either sympathetic to Jessica, saying like, oh yeah, I agree, because they don't like you anyway, and just a man talking, so really who cares. So it just really depends on I guess the viewer or anything. Like, I don't think, I mean, hopefully, because they did say that this was like the first good debate they've ever had. So it's like, I don't know, maybe like they can look back at this and be like, you know what, that is true. Even though if I didn't say things like, I guess, super how I wanted to, maybe not really concise, but I think I hit on the main points that I wanted to talk about. So overall, I'm happy with my performance, my debate. Shout out Jessica, shout out Mute Points, and I will be looking forward to doing more in the future with Mute Points, or whoever else wants to debate on this topic or any topic. Like, I'm a open book. I'm down to research anything, and yeah, it was pretty fun. Oh yeah, I forgot. My main point was to hammer home, like, in general, why wouldn't someone be included in a movement? Like, again, it was in the opening statement, like, only reason you wouldn't be is if you don't share the same fundamental goals. Like, if they share the same fundamental goals, then that you should be included. So yeah, I don't know. Shout out Meat Points and Jessica. Maybe we'll talk again. I don't know, but yeah, pretty good.